Apparently, Meghan Markle has claimed the cover of Harper's Bazaar. Yes, the very same Harper's Bazaar. It all started with a cover shot. Meghan Markle believed this image could reboot her entire narrative. A fresh start, a soft glow, a pose honed to perfection. The Harper's Bazaar photoshoot was supposed to be her grand rebirth, a subtle declaration that she was stepping back into the spotlight on her own terms. For a few fleeting hours, it worked. Social media buzzed, headlines circled, and Meghan's team breathed easy, certain this was the opening page of a new chapter. Then, disaster struck, not from critics, not from journalists, not from royal commentators, but from South Park. Within hours, the show turned Meghan's glossy comeback into one of its sharpest satirical hits in years. The timing? Brutal. The parody landed just as the Harper's Bazaar interview gained traction, flipping the spotlight entirely. Instead of discussing carefully curated quotes or artistic photos, people laughed at the cartoon version of her, a version that barely needed exaggeration to make the point. The jokes were precise, ruthless even, targeting the exact things the public had already noticed: the dramatic tone, the poetic phrasing, the sense that Meghan was once again over-engineering her reinvention. Because the parody mirrored the real interview so perfectly, viewers didn't just watch. They shared it endlessly until millions had absorbed it. Inside Meghan's camp, panic set in. The Harper's Bazaar feature wasn't supposed to provoke laughter. It was meant to elicit admiration, signal growth, wisdom, and a fresh trajectory. But the parody revealed the ugly truth her team refused to admit. The public wasn't buying the reborn Meghan narrative. Instead of inspiration, audiences felt déjà vu, like they'd consumed this story multiple times before, just under different lighting and outfits. That's why the South Park jab hit so hard. It didn't invent a narrative, it exposed one. And insiders say Meghan felt blindsided. She reportedly asked how something designed to showcase strength had turned into mockery. She couldn't fathom how an interview she considered honest and powerful became a joke overnight. But the truth is simple: repeat the same themes enough times, and even a polished comeback feels predictable. And when predictability reigns, satire writes itself. Meghan thought she was unveiling a new era. Instead, she stepped straight into a storm. Not just any storm, a hurricane that would roar louder, cut deeper, and complicate matters far beyond a mere cartoon episode. Hollywood doesn't fear criticism, it fears unpredictability. And from their view, Meghan Markle's Harper's Bazaar interview, followed by a ruthless South Park takedown, painted her as wildly unpredictable, the worst kind. One producer reportedly noted that Meghan's public persona kept swinging between inspirational and defensive, poised and dramatic, quiet and theatrical. Brands and studios crave stability, a consistent image they can market. Meghan wasn't providing that. Even worse, the South Park parody exposed whispers Hollywood had long murmured. Her storylines always felt recycled. Dramatic self-reflection, emotional retelling, poetic language, misunderstood narratives. Once the cartoon aired, those traits shifted from empowering to exaggerated. Executives began questioning if Meghan truly grasped the American audience she aimed to charm. The Harper's Bazaar piece leaned into high drama, destiny, reinvention, and emotional awakening, but Americans reward vulnerability and humor, not perfectly polished speeches. That clash made the interview feel more like branding than authenticity. And the kicker? South Park nailed it. The cartoon showed Meghan giving deep speeches while cameras stalked her, striking dramatic poses, exaggerating the very tone of Harper's Bazaar. When Hollywood compared the parody with the real interview, the overlap was glaring. That scared them. When satire and reality blur, celebrities stop feeling real and start feeling like characters. Inside Meghan's camp, tension spiked. Advisors knew that once Hollywood doubts your relatability, opportunities dry up, not from dislike, but because brands avoid anything eye-roll-inducing. And right then, Meghan's narrative was doing just that. Her interview faltered. The parody amplified every flaw. Meanwhile, Prince Harry wasn't immune. He wasn't the target. Yet his cartoon appeared confused, reactive, overshadowed, a reflection of years of public criticism. Insiders say Harry felt uneasy playing sidekick in Meghan's story. Hollywood noticed. When couples are branded as units, one person's PR crisis quickly drags down the other. Meghan's team realized this had shifted from a funny online moment to a serious reputational threat. A cartoon was now dictating how the industry viewed her future. The next hit wouldn't come from South Park. It was coming from the media, and it was already approaching. As Meghan's team scrambled to manage the South Park fallout and rising Hollywood anxiety, a new, more insidious problem appeared. Quiet, subtle, far more dangerous than a cartoon. A major U.S. outlet, once considered safe, started probing. Not soft, promotional questions, investigative ones. It began innocuously, with a comment request that normally meant nothing. Soon, calls went to those who worked on the Harper's Bazaar shoot: assistants, stylists, freelancers, minor players with clear insight. The outlet wanted to know how the interview was shaped, who influenced the tone, why the language read like a dramatic monologue instead of a standard celeb profile. They asked if the piece was guided, orchestrated, or staged. Panic flickered instantly through Meghan's team. The Harper's Bazaar feature was already mocked for its overly poetic style, and the South Park episode had spotlighted those flaws. If the outlet published its findings suggesting rehearsal or control, Meghan wouldn't just seem dramatic, she'd appear manufactured. PR scrambled. Advisors texted late into the night. Staffers flagged trending tweets. Everyone analyzed what the outlet might already know. One insider said the mood was like trying to extinguish an invisible fire you can smell. They all agreed. A follow-up piece could hurt far more than the parody, because satire embarrasses you, but investigation exposes you. Meghan herself reportedly felt stunned. Her Harper's Bazaar interview, which she viewed as art, expression, storytelling, was now under ruthless scrutiny. The public didn't want art, they wanted truth. When a narrative is too polished, too perfect, people start questioning what's real. And just when she thought she'd survived the parody, another blow landed. During a casual podcast, the South Park writers joked that they wouldn't mind revisiting Meghan Markle's saga if more material surfaced. It wasn't a promise, it was a warning. Meghan's team understood perfectly: produce more dramatic content, and the comedy world would feast. Fear spread fast. Meghan didn't want to become a recurring punchline. One mockery is bad, two is unforgettable. Anyone who becomes a running joke on South Park carries that stigma for years. Her team mapped every possible scenario. What if the investigative piece dropped? What if more comedians piled on? What if public opinion continued to sway? Each scenario led to the same grim conclusion: Meghan's image was slipping from her control. Her Harper's Bazaar interview, meant to reopen doors and reset opinions, had instead triggered a perfect storm: media frenzy, memes, comedy circuits, and now potential investigations. The storm wasn't done. The next wave threatened her most vulnerable asset, her long-term image. Days passed. Meghan's team scrambled, but the storm only grew. The Harper's Bazaar feature, once a polished comeback, became the centerpiece of an internet spectacle. Every tweet, clip, meme pulled attention further from the elegant narrative she had painstakingly crafted. But the worst part wasn't the mockery itself. It was how quickly it became the public's default image of Meghan Markle. The tipping point came when social media users posted side-by-side comparisons: Meghan's real Harper's Bazaar photos versus South Park's exaggerated versions. Lighting, poses, solemn expressions, the resemblance was uncanny. The parody hadn't distorted anything, it had just angled the mirror sharper. The internet noticed, Hollywood noticed, and Meghan noticed. The real damage wasn't in the jokes, it was in the long-term ripple effect. Once South Park turns you into a character, there's no escape. You live next to it. Every new project, every interview, every photo shoot now carries a mental comparison. Polished, heartfelt, dramatic, it doesn't matter. The internet now interprets Meghan through a comedic filter. Inside her home, sources say moods shifted from frustration to fear, not of the cartoon, but of what it meant for her future. Meghan Markle had always relied on storytelling to shape her image, her career, her royal navigation, her post-royal identity. But once audiences stop believing the story, even the most dramatic retelling loses power. Prince Harry felt the impact too. Though not the parody center, his cartoon appeared lost, supportive but overshadowed, reactive instead of leading, a reflection of long-standing criticism. Hollywood quietly questioned his independence in projects, and the parody only deepened that doubt. Then came the final blow: silence. No major outlets rushed to defend her, no celebrities rallied, no PR allies redirected the narrative. This wasn't abandonment, it was calculated. Hollywood doesn't rescue someone trapped in a PR wildfire. They watch and wait for the smoke to clear. As South Park continued to dominate online, the silence around Meghan spoke louder than any headline. The Harper's Bazaar cover, meant as a triumphant reset, may have instead marked the moment her image slipped from her hands into the internets and rebuilding a meme-shaped reputation? Nearly impossible.